What's going on, you guys? Links Forte here to bring you another tutorial on dock automation. This in this one, I'm going to teach you guys just how to make this automatically update itself. I'm going to be talking more about games played, kills, and deaths, and not so much differential kills per game, kills per death, because that's not something that's usually standard. It varies league to league depending on who wants what, things like that. So I'm just going to talk about games played, kills, and deaths, just to show you what I mean by it automatically updating. Basically, I put the Pokemon anywhere in these cells, and it will automatically pop up that they have one game played because that's where they show up, and I put kills and deaths next to them, and that will automatically update itself as well. Let's not make that. So as you see there, Azumarill has 3 kills, 6 deaths right there. Zygarde 8 kills, 2 deaths, that's down here. Celebi 1 kill, 7 deaths, that's right there. So there you see, and like I said, we're not going to talk about differential kills per game, kills per death. Differential is something that's standard, but that's just kills minus deaths. That's something everybody should be able to just put into their formulas, like really simply. Like that's nothing complex, is what it is with games played, kills, and deaths. So I'm gonna go to a clean team tab, and I'm just gonna show you. So this first one, these formulas all operate on the base of the same formula in a sense. Kills and deaths has one extra step, but this first one, it's equals sum if. sorry, not sum if, count if. It's equals count if, and then you need a range. Excuse me. You need a range. So the range you want to take, it's going to be in one of these. It's going to be all 12 of these, but you want to take them in separate ranges. Also, I do want to say, I'm not teaching you guys how to make a team page because everyone has a different way of doing it. And the other thing, I also highly advise you to make sure everything is in its own cell. Even if you have to merge cells, everything needs to be in a separate cell. What I mean is kills and deaths cannot be in the same cell, separated by a hyphen. They need to be, and hyphen, if you don't know the term, it's a dash. They need to be in their own cells, how I have it here. Like deaths are all their own cell, kills are all in their own cells, games played are their own cells. They're not in the same cell. So back to what I was saying, we need to take our range. Our range is all of these under the Pokemon tabs. And you can if you want to pause this video and try to set up your team pages the way I have it, go for it. I'm not gonna be offended. I'm not gonna be mad if someone shows me that they're using the same. The point of these tutorials is so everyone makes it easier for their coaches, and the main point is I treat everyone, and this is no knock to anyone, but I treat everyone as if they're stupid, and I want to make everyone's life easy. Back to this. So it's equals count if. You want to take a range, and that's going to be this first one. We're worried about the first one right now, and you're going to do comma, and you want your criteria. You want it to be this first cell. If you have them merged, you only need the first one. The reason why you don't want to take the full thing is it could get kind of weird sometimes, but you just need the first one, and then you're going to close parentheses that. Now the rest of this you need to take every single week, so it can get, you know, really it could get really long depending on how many weeks you have. Most leagues tend to run 12 to 15, maybe 10 to 15. It sort of depends on how many people you have in your league. You can copy and paste the formula, but I'm just gonna do count if. And the reason why I'm not copying and pasting is because so the reason I'm not copying and pasting is because I would have to go back and delete that first part of the formula, like this range, and then just capture it again anyway. So it just makes it easier, if for me anyway, it makes it easier if I just retype it. But I'm used to doing this, so if you guys who are not used to doing it, you could just copy and paste that formula. I'm not going to capture all of these. I'm just going to capture the first 4 weeks, since I don't have to scroll or anything like that right now, or I wouldn't have to. Now, if you guys remember my last video, I used the dollar symbol to lock cells to keep it from scrolling. Now, what I mean is, if you look at this, right? If you see, I'm guessing this is like an orangish yellow, this is like a light blue, this is like a purple red or whatever, and then this is a fairly darker blue, but it's still like a light blue. You see where they all are now, right? If I do not lock my cells, because I don't think I showed this in the last video, if I do not lock my cells, they all drop 1, and then there is a Pokemon that I'm not accounting for. So you have to lock your cells. So the way we lock our cells here is you want to lock the row. And what I mean by row is these numbers are the rows. The letters are the columns. So you need to place the dollar symbol in front of where your ranges are. You need to replace them in front of the numbers. So if we drag and drop, and you don't need to lock where the criteria is, because you want that to drag down. You want that to basically capture that same row. So if I pull it up, there we go. It's capturing my same ranges, but look, the criteria has shifted down with me, and that's all you need for this one. The games played portion is the easiest one, and once you drag it down all the way, it's gonna, depending on how you have all these, how you have your boxes and things like that, it could change just that portion, but that's a simple fix. Just go back and fix it there. Anyway, for this kills and deaths, this one is still pretty simple, but it's a little bit more involved. So this one, it's like I said, you're playing with the same formula in the beginning as the game's played, except it's not. Well, here we use count if. In gameplay we use count if. Here we're going to use sum if. So it's equals sum if. Again, you want the range, which is the Pokemon. You want your criteria, which is this first cell. It's only the first cell. And now you want what you're adding up. In this case, you want the kills to make sure they're adding up. And I'm just going to do the same thing. It's this. And I forgot to grab that. I'm sorry, you guys. Sum if. It's like I'm just trying to do it quick because I want to make sure I'm capturing four references, and I just I'm trying to do it quick, and I'm not paying attention as to what it is I'm doing. Okay, so make sure I'm capturing every instance that I need. Alright, so I have all 4 of my instances here, and I just hit double comma. Now, we only need to do this formula this one time in theory, because what we're going to do is we're going to drag it down. We're going to drag it down to make sure all of these are being captured, and we're also going to drag it to the right. But before you do that, before you drag at any point in time, we're going to drag to the right first, but we need to lock cells. So remember, if you drag to the right, you're locking columns. If you drag down, you're locking rows. So we're going to drag to the right first, which means we need to lock columns. So the columns we need to lock here, we need to lock these, we need to lock the range. So we need to lock the B, we need to lock the D, and we do in fact need to lock this K, because otherwise it's going to go to L8. Now, as for the sum range, and I'm using the terminology that's right here. As for this, you do not need to lock it because we're going over to the deaths column and we want that to be dragged along with it. So we do not need to lock that. So we're, again, in each instance, we're just going to lock the columns. And again, you do not need to lock your sum range. So I'm going to drag it. And there, the formula is there. If I pull this up, you guys should see it should be highlighting the Pokemon, it should be highlighting the kills. And then if I go to my deaths, it should be highlighting the Pokemon, it should be highlighting the deaths, and it should still have this same criteria here. And as you can see, it's sometimes hard to see. If you use a different color background, let me do that real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So if you use a different color background, you can see it because white is, and I should have changed that to begin with, but no, it's still actually kind of hard to see. But whatever, that's just the way this works. But you can actually see the different colors, you know, how it's highlighted. And I don't want that gray background. So there you have the kills and the deaths. Now we need to drag both of these down, but we need to lock our rows this time. So you're gonna lock, you do not need to lock the K8. You do not need to lock that. However, you do need, in your sum range, you need to lock those. Because again, you want that to stay where it is. So you need to lock the regular range, and you need to lock the sum range. You do not need to lock your criteria. Just highlight it. This can get tricky, like when you're trying to go too fast and something gets highlighted and you don't want it to be highlighted. Now you need to make sure you do it for the deaths column as well. The reason why we didn't lock it before is because it would have locked everything we didn't need it to lock. It would have locked certain things we didn't need it to lock. So for instance, we didn't do it here in the sum range because it would have locked that cell. It would have locked those. Actually, we could have done it there. And I apologize for, because I think that is one of the ways I actually do it. I lock everything and I drag to the right and then I drag down, but I want to make sure that you guys understand what it is that we're locking. I need to make sure these are locked. Okay. So if I did everything right, and I am prone to messing up because this can get very tedious. All of these cells should, you know, they should work within these first 4 because that's all I've done right now. So I'm just going to pick 3 Pokemon. This is what I had on the last page, so this is what I'm going to use. Now, we're going to worry about the games played for right now. I'm going to put Azumarill. I'm going to put Celebi, if I can spell it. Excuse me. And then I'll do Zygarde over here. There you see Zygarde popping up for 1 game played, Celebi popping up for 1 game played, Azumarill popping up for 1 game played, and I know I spelled Azumarill with only 1 L and it's supposed to have 2. There you go. Now, if we look at the kills and the deaths, if I did this right, and if I showed it to you guys right, the number should populate within the kills and deaths column. Azumarill shows to have 3 kills. If I put a 1 here, it shows to have 1 death. Celebi, if I put a 5 there, it shows to have 5 kills. And if I put a 2 there, it shows to have 2 deaths. And then we'll just do the same for Zygarde. As you see, it has the 1 and 8. And that's it. It's fairly simple, but it's easy to mess up if you're not paying attention. Like I said, as you guys saw that, I missed, in a sense, one of the dollar symbols where it's supposed to go to lock the cells, and it's very simple to do, and it could get very tedious. What I suggest you guys do is make a team template page. You just make 1 page, do all your formulas, and then duplicate it, because the formulas will automatically be there once you duplicate the page. And that's it. I hope this was easy to understand. I wanted to make it very short. It ended up being a 15-minute video compared to the other 2 times I did it where it was well over 20 minutes. Anyway, this is Links Forte. I hope I helped you guys out, and I will catch you guys next time. I have like 2 more of these planned. I just need to do them, and they're fairly extensive. Anyway, I'm out. Peace. Hey you guys, really quick, I forgot to mention, just like in my last video when I said you need to lock your cells, you need to do the same thing. Anything that has a formula, you need to lock it because you don't want anyone typing over this. I've had, in a couple leagues that I've done, people want access to the docs, they want to be edited, they want editing rights and things like that, and so I tend to give it to them because it's their league. But I still try and lock these cells. And then the way you do that is you have to kind of, actually, yeah, you can do it by the range, sorry. You just right click and you scroll down to protect range. Let me try to make it so you guys can see this. Give me 1 second. So, you want to protect this range and just set permissions. Again, I am the owner of this doc. If someone else is the owner of the doc, I'm sorry, but they're gonna have access to it and they're probably gonna screw something up. This is why I recommend the owner of the doc be the one to make this, and then they restrict it so no one can edit this range except for them. If you're not the owner of the doc, then the owner automatically gets editing permissions and things like that. So that's all you have to do to lock it. If you didn't see my last video, just remember, anything that has a formula in it, you don't have to lock these because they need to be able to type in these. You don't have to lock these because they need to be able to type in these. Anything that has a formula in it needs to be locked. I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys. Anyway, I'm out for real this time. Peace.